And welcome to No Prize Podcast. I am the Professor Bud Young. That's Johnny. That's Lucas. What's going on, gentlemen?
Counting down to the final 8 of the NCAA tournament. Counting down to the final 4, waiting for baseball to start. And in the meantime, for those that are not into sports at all, counting down, looking at these crappy freaking comics and projects that Marvel and Disney Plus is putting out.
It's spring. Yay. Look forward to another long baseball season.
There you go. That's my 7th inning stretch.
Oh, well. Hopefully with the pitch count, we'll have some quicker games. What do you think?
As long as I have the stretch and have the bad singer in the middle, I don't mind.
Well, I know that the Red Sox kind of had controversy early with the pitch count, with someone called out on a strike because he wasn't ready in the batter's box. You remember that? They ended the game.
You're out of there.
Yeah. Yep. You're out. End of game. That was kind of funny. Made all the headlines. All right. So we got some stuff going on in MCU. I want to start really big on the pushback of some of the shows, and it looks like some of these shows might not even be coming out until 2024 now. Now, I don't know if you guys saw that Marvel Studios they fired their executive producer Victoria Alonso, right?
Yeah.
And we think that that is the reason that they're pushing stuff back. Is that
so?
Is it quality control?
Right. Well, so
I hope so.
so if I don't know if you mind me giving everybody some context on what's been going
Go
on
for
with
it.
Disney. All right. So this past week, and that's been going on for like the last year or so, the Fed has been raising rates because of inflation. Everything's expensive now. Fed says, "Hey, we got to stop that." Fed has been raising rates. Um, in the meantime, a lot of these companies, they've had these unions, to include Disney, that have been fighting for the 15. That's well, just this past week, Disney Union, they didn't just get 15, they got 18, which is crazy because Disney just gave it to them. They gave them 15. They say, "Hey, here's 15." They're like, "No, we want 18. Do
18
whatever.
what?
Dollars, $18 an hour."
All right. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Just checking in because it. Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So in the meantime, Disney says, okay, well, now that the Fed has raised the rate, we got to pay these guys more. We're going to have to fire an additional 4,000 people. So that's going to be 11,000 people in these 2 months, March through April. Right? And the union says, well, no, that has nothing to do with us getting more money. That's just regular people. Like, no, that's no, you dumb quat. Yeah, that's because they had to raise more money to give you guys money as well as give me money because as a wrestler, they owe me a little bit of money for some dividends for holding on, right? So in the meantime, on the other flip side, they're still freaking holding on. They're still fighting against Governor DeSantis, trying to calm him down and everything, right? Because a big part of the Disney agenda for the last 3 years has been inclusion, right? They're trying to,
Yeah.
you know, um, and Governor DeSantis is like, that's nice, but you don't have to throw it in everybody's face. We don't, maybe keep some of that stuff out of the children's shows and everything. Um, but the person that was supposedly the big advocate for Disney doing more diversity and inclusion was Victoria Alfonso. If you hear that narrative, that is a load of crap because they were doing that way before she got a hold of any of that stuff. The big thing that Disney fired her for this past week is because while she was supposedly working on a lot of Disney projects, she was actually working on a whole bunch of other stuff, which is a breach of her contract, such as Argentina 1985, which actually got nominated for the Oscar and lost. And there's like a whole bunch of other stuff. So, and whenever they came looking for her to do her job, she was always off busy doing something else. Right? So that was a big problem. And talking with some of the VFX guys, um, you know, in order to get the money that they needed for stuff, they had to go through her. Then she was supposed to go and go to the main. bank credit line and then ask for the money. And they just couldn't find her. She just wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing. So that was another thing. So in the meantime, after she got fired, her main narrative was, I am a gay Latino woman, and now they're trying to silence me. No, 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 Miss Lady. There's proof in the pudding that you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing, and that you were in breach of contract because you have a movie that's out that was actually nominated for the Oscar. You're not supposed to be working on for two different companies while you're working for Disney. That's not the way. Imagine Kevin Feige out here making shucking movies for Paramount and MGM while he's working doing the whole Marvel. No, he didn't do that. He just focused on Disney stuff. So that's where it gets even crazy.
Huh. So to be clear, so this Argentina 1985 movie that came out that was nominated for an Oscar was not in any way, shape, or form affiliated with the MCU or Disney or anything like that.
Right.
Okay, so it sounds pretty clear cut to me. The one thing that I care about is how was Victoria Alonso being, I guess, absent at work is that what's affected the quality of the shows that have been coming out, or the reason why things get pushed back by one person?
So that's what they're saying. They're saying that because she was supposed to be the person that was supposed to bring together different projects and to ask for the credit lines as a director, just like Kevin Feige, he's the main guy that goes and asks for more money. She was often absent or she wasn't asking for the correct lines, and in certain times she prioritized the political agenda over putting out an actual good product. That's maybe why everything was so terrible. Which I kind of agree. Like once again, I'm not here to bash the LGBTQ inclusion or anything like that. But I can say is that whenever they try to put that stuff in there, it was absolutely terrible. Right? There was no. You want to give me LGBTQ romance. You swung and missed because the stuff was terrible. Because you maybe should have hired some romance writers to put that stuff in instead of just kind of shoehorning like, "Hey, we're here." Like, okay, okay, what? I don't care. Let's get back to the freaking story and freaking swashbuckling, freaking shooting bad guys down. And she just wasn't able to do that. I don't know. What did you think, Johnny?
I think I think there's got to be some quality control. If you're signed up with a contract that work exclusively for one company, and then you go and then produce something for somebody else, and they get plaudits for it, so you can't escape the fact you've done it, then yeah, you're going to get canned. It absolutely totally is going to be the case. The people asking for more money, we're having this over here at the minute. We've got whole swathes of people going on strike. We've got nurses on strike, doctors on strike, train drivers on strike, all for more money because we're in a cost of living crisis. And it staggers me a little bit because I think you can go on strike for more money, but that money's got to come from somewhere. Now, Disney have made the decision that to pay these extra people, they're going to have to lay off a whole bunch of other people. That's going to impact the quality of the work that Disney put out. Because you're actually, if you think about it, if you've got, let's keep the math simple just for the sake of this. If you've got 8,000 employees and you have to get rid of 4,000 to pay the other 4 some money, the work stays the same. Mm-hmm. But now those 4,000 are working twice as hard. So you've actually demeaned your own pay increase because you're working twice as long, twice as hard, and instead of getting X amount of work for that, you're getting more work. You know, it's ridiculous. The other companies have the other option. I'm going to pay this guy more money, or this group of people more money, but that means I'm going to put the prices up for the consumer, which means the consumer now, still living with the cost of living crisis, can't afford to buy it. If you start putting out substandard comics, Marvel, then people aren't going to buy them. All right. So, and if you put substandard comics out or product out and the price is higher again to pay for the increases, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. I'm not saying people shouldn't get a fair wage for fair work. I'm not saying that at all. Absolutely. Talented people should get paid their worth. But people go into contracts and they're going to jobs and they're going to careers and they know what to expect. You know, if you go and you be a comic book writer or a comic book artist, you know you're not going to make $1 million doing this. You know,
Right.
it's a niche market. All right,
Mhm.
so you'll be the hero of a bunch of people that you're never going to see. That's the whole thing with Disney. The quality is starting to show. The lack of it. There's a couple of scenes in the one in this week's Mandalorian, the one the week before, where he's running towards his ship to get in there. It was jerky as hell. It was like someone had sped him up or something. I was like, are you telling me this is the best we can do? And in this episode this week, when they're practicing the target stuff at the beginning, half of those, well, if not all of them, were pretty much CGI'd, and they were doing the same like movement. And I'm like, dude, I see more animation in what playing Madden's than I do. You know,
Right.
so it's like, come on. So to answer your question, Lucas, yeah, I think quality is going to suffer predominantly because the impact on the workforce. So therefore, what used to take to get a decent job would take 10 people to do. Now we've had to cull that to pay for pay rises. Now that job is getting done by 5 people.
Yeah. Or 20 people making minimum wage.
Yeah.
Right.
And those 20 people that are making minimum wage,
but they're not as qualified or as talented.
They're not as talented. Right. Spot on. That was
right.
the next part of the equation.
So
it's like employment algebra. If X equals $10.
So Johnny, thanks for the smooth transition because we were jumping into the latest 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. We'll break it down in the episode 3 or chapter. Was it chapter 19 or 18 or whatever?
19.
19.
The one I watched this morning was 20.
Yeah. Chapter 19 was largely a Dr. Pershing episode to the demand of no one. I don't understand. Like, I know that this is probably just huge plot driving, for something maybe coming on later in the season, or just to kind of revisit on the whole cloning story from the first couple of seasons, where they kind of touch on that they were looking for the DNA of Grogu to do their own thing, right? But now this episode with Pershing, where it just spent the whole time he's been reconditioned or behaviorized, which kind of really reminded me of the Squadron Supreme Limited series. Remember where they had the behavior modification device, where they just hook them up, fix them, and then they didn't have to put them in jail, whether you wanted it or not. So I actually kind of thought that was. Almost shades of Andor, right? Where like when we talk about Andor and it'd say, hey, the Empire, the Rebellion, they're both kind of shades of gray, right? Who's right, who's wrong? That kind of everybody moves towards the middle. I kind of really thought that on this episode was that, wow, the Rebellion is still kind of using questionable tactics to to modify the Imperials that they've captured, with the Imperials saying, hey, this isn't a bad thing. We would have killed you.
Yeah.
Here we're just changing the way you think. So take that as you want. But
I totally forgot that was in there.
Well, I mean, on the whole, though, I thought the episode was really long and boring. For an hour-long episode, when I first started, I was like, "Oh, it's going to be an hour. This is great." Because I complained that the episodes are only like a half hour long, and then I was like, "Oh, when is this episode over? It's boring." And then to jump into episode 4, chapter 20, which was a flashback episode which showed us. Yeah, it showed us how Grogu got away from the Order 66, and the highlight of that episode was was Ahmed Best showing up as a Jedi. Everybody knows Ahmed Best played Jar Jar Binks in Phantom Menace, but to see him come and rescue Grogu, that was a nice touch. But on the whole, I don't think the episode worked. I think the pacing has been really, really off this season. What do you guys think?
I don't understand the episode. I've got to be honest, because Grogu's watching the foundry doing the thing, and that's the thing that sets off his PTSD from when he escaped from Coruscant. There's no correlation to that. I would have thought he was
Yeah.
having memories of being tortured or something, you know, with the device coming down and
Yeah.
crashing down and stuff. I didn't see the correlation at all. The other thing, so Bo-Katan, I love Bo-Katan, she's class. She's just got there, and she's just been brought back into the fold because she swam in the rivers on the lake on Mandalore. Now, she's leading a war party. What's that all about? And people are just like, yeah, we'll trust you. You're like, what? That's like saying, hey, you know what? I used to shoot womp rats back in my T16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters, so I'm damn sure I can hit that target. Yeah. All right, Luke, crack on. It's just odd. I just find it odd that she's so revered for this group when she's been ostracized for so long, and the whole mythosaur element is like she's opening up to it, and the guy's like, yeah, and whatever.
Lucas,
so I don't know. I don't know if the clone thing's going to come back. Part of the is that how they get Smoke? Is that how they get the Emperor and stuff? I don't know how it works. And frankly, right now I don't care. I really don't care. My last thought on the Mandalorian this week was, good old Grogu gets himself a little medallion, 70s style. How the hell is that dude going to be able to stand up?
Well, he's already got the chainmail shirt, and then they just put another armor. He's got like layers of armor on him.
Put that medal on him, he's like this.
A lot of people are telling me that he looks like Flavor Flav. You know, you guys remember that back in the day. He's just put a little clock on him, it'd be all right. But little Adidas, little Adidas fucking tracksuit on him with a little coolie hat, and he'd be straight. That's Grogu, Baby Yoda that I want to see, man. Rock him out, man.
Lucas, can you explain to me how they got 3 giant pterodactyl babies into the back of Bo-Katan's ship?
You see, Uniteria, it's dimensionally transcendental. Wait,
have you ever tried to ride around with 3 chickens, roosters in the back of a truck? I can tell you it's not that easy. So for them to say, oh yeah, we're just going to throw these pterodactyls in the back of a ship, I don't know what the heck they're saying. But
I've transported 2 cats before. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, two of anything is anything. So Noah on the ark was having.
I saw there was a spatial problem in the ship when they were trying to pull them out down the ramp. I was like, how did they get in there?
I don't even understand why they had to kill the beast. To be honest, it's only doing what it's supposed to do. It's not like it's an evil beast. It's just feeding on what it's supposed. No, I'm not screaming for animal rights here. I just thought the whole episode was just a little bit odd. And I don't know what the overarching theory is going to be. There's season 2. It was about Grogu finding his people or finding the Jedi.
Yeah.
This it's like I'm 4 episodes in, and I don't know what the aim of the thing is.
Well, I mean, we've 4 episodes, and it's an 8-episode season, right? So we're halfway through. Mm-hmm. And we've got the first episode where those pirates, right? And they never resolved that, so there's still pirates coming around. So I expect to see them in later on the season. Second episode was the Empire, which they never really resolved. So now I'm expecting to see the Empire again. And from everything I'm reading is that they're gearing up to introduce Thrawn by the end of this season, and then we have the third episode, which is the Rebellion, and now we have plus we have the Mandalorians coming around, and it seems like very disjointed with not a clear vision of what they're heading towards.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. But there seems to be a lot of plot and storyline elements, and I think it's a too many cooks spoiling the stew kind of thing.
It's interesting you mentioned about maybe, but you know how you mentioned about the runtime.
Yeah,
I'd like a show to have a set runtime.
Yeah,
if you're running, if 1 week you're down to 30 minutes and the next week you're over like nearly 55. That tells me you've got something going wrong at your filmmaking plan, because you know what? You should be able to get it down. You know, you buy a standard comic book of 22 pages, you get 22 pages.
Well,
Unless they put a filler in and you realize, oh, you know what? They've run out of a story. It's the same sort of thing. Padding. Last week's episode, unless something happens about the clones, last week's episode is superfluous. What they could have done is cut that out and put the escape from Mandalore, the landing of the Covenant where they are now, at the beginning of this week's episode.
Yeah.
And that would have made a full episode. As instead of, we'll do 5 minutes of this, 5 minutes that, and then we'll put 40 minutes of absolute nonsense in the middle.
Well, I just don't know, like, how you go. Like, let's say you're going to sell John Favreau on episode 3 of this season and say, look, I need an hour because we need to tell Dr. Pershing's story. How do you sell that? I just don't.
Maybe he wrote it anyway.
Maybe. All right. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some comics. Let's see. Let's do Crescent. All right. Make sure you check out Crisis in the Toyverse, our toy podcast. Bobo's
I think we should get Bobo to speak to McFarlane Toys and make figures of us.
Oh, let's see. They need a lot of plastic for me.
Jesus.
You imagine your accessories. What would your accessories? Mine would be a pen or a pencil, because I've always got one. Luke's would be a bottle of tequila. It'd be all right.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know what my accessories would be, but
An encyclopedia, because you're the professor.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny.
Encyclopedia Britannica?
Encyclopedia Marvel Cornucopia. Right. Go on then. All right, so this is my choice, isn't it? This is Amazing Spider-Man 22, written by Zeb Wells, art by John Romita Jr., inks by Scott Hanna, colours by Marcio Menez. VC's Joe Caramanga is on letters. I picked this because there was not a great deal of anything else to pick. To be honest, Bud's picked the best book of the week. And I need to go and bleach my eyes after reading this.
It's the story we've all been waiting for, Johnny.
It is the story we've all been waiting for. Unfortunately, none of it makes any sense, and there's history from God knows where, to the point where I'm thinking, how has this book got so far off the rails? I don't get it. A grounded Spider-Man works so well at the start of this run. We talk about it every time we talk about Spider-Man. The Tombs of Stone story, the Vulture story, all good. You get Black Cat back, so you think it's going to be all fun and games. And before you know it, we're back to this. I don't know about you guys, but as I said last time, I am close to dropping this book. I think I'll get to 25, and if it hasn't improved by 25, I'll be done. There's a whole host of books coming out down the line. And you know what? One of my books is potentially ending that I buy every month. And that's one of 2 books that I buy of Marvel. So
what book is that? Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel is rumored to be cancelling with issue 50.
And rebooted?
I don't know. But I will say this. I've known about Kelly Thompson leaving Captain Marvel when I interviewed her, and I've managed to keep my mouth shut all this time. So there you go. There you go. I knew.
You heard it here second.
Yeah. What can I say? I was sworn to secrecy. So yeah, John Romita's art still works for the most part. The colours are a little bit wonky. At least we're getting some indication of why Mary Jane's hanging out with the other dude.
Right.
And that, I think that's probably the highlight of this book. You know, the fact that it's explaining. It's sad that the explanation of the Mary Jane bits better than the explanation of what Spider-Man did in the first place.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he hasn't done it yet.
Well, he's started to do it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That's why he's fallen towards his. Is it what's the phrase? Fallen to his apotheosis. Is that what I pronounce it right? Apotheosis, whatever it says.
I don't know.
So, obviously, we're going to find out for definite next time what he's done because Fantastic Four's in there. But still, I don't know. I would have rather anything else than this. We've done other dimension stuff not so long ago when Inferno was kicking around. I don't need to see reanimated objects again. I saw that less than 3 months ago. I don't need it again.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, unplug your one brain cell. Go plug another one in. Give me something different. Thank you.
Whenever I was reading this book and they got to the page where they started talking about totems, my eyes just rolled in the back of my head. And I was just like, oh, come on. We're going back to the totem things from Straczynski's run. But this isn't Straczynski's run. This was from, of course, I had to Google this when they said issue 555. I was like, what the frick issue is that? I had to go back to 2008 to find the story from Brand New Day written by Dan Slott with art by Chris Bacallo. And I was like, oh, I don't remember this story at all. And I still don't. The issue before, I think we got like a 1-panel recap. But don't you remember back in the day when they referred to other storylines, you got at least a 2-pager to kind of catch your ass up?
Especially if it's going back that far back.
Right.
You know, fair enough if it was like, earlier this year, you'd be like, yeah, I was there for that. Right. But you've got to bear in mind, and I've said this before, the average comic book reader is only supposed to be around in comics for 5 years.
Yeah, what happened to us?
We stuck, man.
Lucas, can you make sense of this at all? You're on mute.
It was not.
Excuse me. This doggone technology is my supervillain. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you said, going back to Amazing Spider-Man number 555, they started introducing the Dr. Rabin, who's the scribble man, and then this god character, which is Wyatt, and the weird thing that I can't pronounce once again. Going into this, they're starting to show us what's going on. Pete and MJ have been running, or in another dimension. They've been running for days of sleep without any food. Paul's out of nowhere to see them, but then he takes them back to his place. In his place, he's got all the weird ruins that we've been seeing all over the freaking storyline. And he doesn't really explain how he really survived. He's just talking about the symbols and how he was sent to this world by Rabin with a message for a Wyatt. Of course, in order to send him there, of course, Dr. Rabin usually has to freaking kill the person and sacrifice them. That's how he sends it to the other dimension. Paul, at one point, he seems to have this little spider device that only needs a little bit more tweaks to take one person back to 616. That was supposed to be the hanger on, the action, like, will he or will he not be able to freaking fix this and everything. Of course, Peter, he's freaking trying to do as much as he can to help him fix that. During this time, Rabin summons Wyatt, despite all three being there for days, which seems to imply that it was done at least once by Paul to at least make contact. While Pete is distracted completing the device, Paul tells MJ more about the ruins and that Pete needs to die first in order for Wyatt to access their world. So that's a very important piece. Once again, that's supposed to be the hanger on that freaking keeps us like, oh man, will you wonder what's going to happen? Then moments after the device is completed, Wyatt breaks into the bunker and kind of ruins any chance for MJ to tell Pete any of that and what's going on. They end up fighting, which leads to Pete being thrown back into 616 with Wyatt being split in half. Weird. Paul states that gods don't die gentle. Don't know what that's supposed to mean. This leaves Paul and MJ stranded with Rabin on this alternate Earth, which is wholly not the future or any other time dilated area. So after I've said all of that, I can unequivocally tell you that I don't care anymore. You've wasted too much money and too much of my time. They've tried to build up the suspense of will they or will they be able to save the day? Will Wyatt get back to? I just don't care anymore.
Well, it's a daft thing to do, isn't it, Lucas? When you think this is set 18 months ago,
Yep.
Isn't it? This is the explanation of what happened in the first place that caused all the ruckus. So we already know, don't we? We already know that they're going to get out all right. We've seen them all in the.
Because my main thing was, okay, what's going on with the new husband? What's going on with the two new kids? Now they're off on some other thing, and it's not being. That's all I wanted to know. Like, is this real? Is this love? Is this love that I'm feeling? No, I guess not. I don't know. They got me going off on the ruins and this and that other thing. Just get me straight to what happened with Peter. Then maybe.
Go on,
maybe I'll. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, just get me straight to what happened with Peter. What did Peter do that pissed not just MJ off, but that pissed everybody off in the MCU? Give me to that, because when they started the storyline, they showed a huge ass hole in the middle of the freaking desert. Tell me that freaking story. What's going on with that? Where did these kids come from? Tell me that. Don't give me this.
I've got
string
an idea
along.
for you. I've just been thinking about that as you've been talking.
I can
have
see
an
that
idea.
coming.
How about, are you ready? Because the kids call Mary Jane mom and they call Paul dad, it's something so they somehow create these kids. I reckon these kids are actually something like totem gods that they're protecting so that the scribble man or whomever can't get them. Because if he gets them, that's what's going to create the massive power. That's why in the first issue, the issue just gone, not this one, the one before, Mary Jane and Paul split up. MJ goes to take on the bad guy, whereas Paul takes the kids. It'll have something to do, I think, this is just pure speculation, it'll have something to do with the totems that MJ has on her wrist and Spider-Man now has in his chest by the guy that put them there. That's what I think it is.
See, I didn't go that way. I kind of thought that that Paul and Mary Jane got trapped in that alternate dimension, and time is going to pass slower for them than for Peter, or faster, or however that's going to work, and that they actually have children. And when they come back, not a lot of time has passed for Peter, but Mary Jane and Paul have been trapped there for years and have had kids. So that's, but whenever I see that the name of the bad guy in here, why does Cardi B go through my head? I don't know. That's all
Cardi
I
B
think.
goes through my head quite a lot, so I'm not really.
But anyway, this storyline is not living up to the hype. I guess I was expecting a lot more for having to wait a year and a half to read this story. But what can I say? I wish that there was more of a recap of where this guy came from, because this is not his first appearance. And I guess we're just all supposed to remember that from 15 years ago when the original story was published. I know I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So, you have to kind of give me a little recap on what's going on. But
I had bacon and egg sandwiches on wholemeal bread and brown sauce. Thank you. 1 cup of coffee, no OJ. Sorry.
Brown sauce?
Yeah, like HP sauce. Do you guys not have that over there?
No. HP sauce? What's that?
You just keep talking. I'm fine.
Is that anything like peanut butter and jelly? I don't know.
No, it's not.
Does it have taste?
Yeah. It's kind of like I've described
I don't trust you guys because you guys eat Marmite and all that other weird stuff.
Marmite, dude, Marmite.
I have the brown sauce, but that's usually not until after I eat the bacon and eggs later.
Funny, yeah, mind you. Funny
You guys have beans and eggs for breakfast over there.
Of course we do.
All right. Let's
If
jump.
if I may be so bold, sorry, in all that, to just present you with. There you go. That's it. HP sauce.
Original HP sauce.
It's
What
called
does HP stand for?
It used to only be available in the Houses of Parliament. That's the Houses of Parliament. That's Big Ben on the picture there.
Ah,
And so it only used to be, but now it's like it's been a staple of British cuisine. It's like I describe it as kind of like not quite barbecue sauce. There you
go. Okay. All right. Let's jump to our, I guess, my pick of the week, which was the relaunch for the millionth time of Doctor Strange. Yay, Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, written by Jed McKay, art by Pasquale Ferry, colorist Matt Hollingsworth, letters by VC's Corey Pettit. And if you don't like it, blame Kat Grigorowitz and Darren Shan. They're your editors. Now, hey, Doctor Strange has been dead for, the last year and a half in Marvel publishing, with the replacement of Clea as the Sorcerer Supreme, who is strangely also called Doctor Strange. And it worked. And that book was actually really good. This book is actually really good. So this book is really just a reintroduction to Doctor Strange and what he's doing now that he's back in the land of the living. This actually gives you some recap on what he's doing and why he's doing it. This whole issue where he becomes a consultant, which I thought was a great idea. He says, so it's not, I'm not always having to fight the mystical fights that I always do. So when I'm not doing what I do, I help other people do what they're doing. And they go through a week in the life of Doctor Strange returning. And I thought it was kind of funny because like Monday's helping Spider-Man, Tuesday's helping Luke Cage, Wednesday, he's helping Black Cat. And I thought I thought it was actually a pretty organic flow. It kind of catches you up on his relationships with a lot of the characters in the Marvel universe from apparently his extended absence, which we really didn't see because we've been complaining about this for the last year. He's actually been appearing in other books when he's supposed to be dead. So here, what's kind of confusing to me, and I'll get into it a little bit, where he has a conversation with Spider-Man on Monday, and they're both talking about him being dead, and Spider-Man actually make reference to the things currently going on in his book.
Mm-hmm.
And the timeline's a little weird for me. Like, okay, so Spider-Man, we have that year-long storyline that he supposedly did something a year ago and has been, persona non grata for a while. And he's explaining that to Doctor Strange. And so I'm like sitting there going, I didn't really think Doctor Strange was dead that long. But then kind of trying to make the timelines fit where I remember Doctor Strange being dead, but this was way before Spidey got relaunched with this storyline. So Spider-Man was kind of running around the entire time. So that means Doctor Strange was either dead a whole lot longer than we thought, or, it's just a kind of a don't think about it too hard moment. I love the interactions with Doctor Doom, which would be Thursday. And the other things I love that they kind of go back to the Chris Bacalo's run on Doctor Strange, where he used to eat all kinds of weird ass shit. Excuse my French, but there's a panel in there where he's eating this gelatinous blob, and I'm just like, I just thought it was funny.
Put brown sauce on it. It tastes better.
Everything's better with brown sauce.
It's true. It's absolutely so true.
So the kicker at the end of this book is that they get called to the purple dimension where they go up against I can't even remember the name of Agamon, and they kind of have this this kind of confrontation where Agamon had something to do with Doctor Strange's death previously, where Clea, who is a much more savage version of Doctor Strange, wants to kill Agamon, but Doctor Strange forces them to leave. And then by the end of the issue, Agamon gets assassinated, and now it's the beginning of a murder mystery, which I think seems to me that it might possibly be rather cool, which is that last few pages there, which is actually a second story with a different creative team, Jed McKay, Andy McDonald, and Ian Herring, where they introduce the Agents of Wand. I hate the name. I like the idea. So it's Wong and Pandora Peters. I don't really recall her. Is she a new character, or is she Wong's girlfriend?
I don't know, but she's been around.
Okay,
she's been around.
And another, I think, newish character, whereas the freaky Dr. Z, which I love the name. And then they stumble upon Agamon's dead, decapitated body. So you could tell that this is going to be an interesting storyline that's coming up. I love the covers by Alex Ross, but I mean, he never really goes wrong as far as I'm concerned as far as cover duties. But yeah, I agree with Johnny. Doctor Strange is definitely the pick of this week. Might be the pick of the month for me. Yeah. Pick of the year so far. I know we're only in March, but hey.
No.
Oh, no. There's a better one.
I think consistently, Captain Marvel's been week in, week out. It's been the best book of every week that book's out. That's the best book of that week.
Well,
I don't think you can really move away from the consistency.
Well, what about Daredevil? Has Daredevil fallen off?
I'm losing it with Daredevil. I am. So it's the third Marvel book I'm buying. I am buying it at the minute.
He's splitting his time between Batman and Daredevil suffering because of it.
I'm kind of losing it. I was intrigued with Lady Daredevil more than Matt Murdock Daredevil. But,
Lucas, what did you think of Doctor Strange?
It's an okay recap of what's been going on. You know, like, hey, he's in this role now, but here's the problem with all of that. The most interesting thing about Doctor Strange right now is Strange Academy. And for him to get back in the saddle without showing me what's going on with Strange Academy, that's a loss for me. Right? These books should be hand over hand, freaking promoting each other and showing me if like, oh, okay, I can't buy this book, but hey, you might want to pick this book up because this is happening in that book. You just literally, it gave us a good 30-40 panels of recaps of what's going on with them without addressing what's going on in the Strange Academy, and I find that absolutely weird. Right? I do like the whole wand thing. Like, I agree with you. The name's a little weird, but that's okay. I do think that if you were going to bring Doctor Strange back, this Dr. Z character, that should be the crazy new change that he should be, not the old 60s slick back freaking Pat Riley wannabe freaking type character. And if you're going to bring him back, at least update his style. Right, you know, you still got the, like, if I see this dude running around the freaking streets in the cape and this thing, I'm going, hey, we need to call the guys in the white suits with the freaking paddy wagon. I mean, so I think they lost some things that they could have did here. They probably they definitely should have updated them if they want to bring them back, and they just missed out on that. I am looking forward to what's going on with Dr. Z. Are they going to give us a murder mystery? Is that what they're going to do with this whole Agamon thing? Maybe, but maybe they should have started Agamon as the first most important part of the storyline versus putting him all the way at the end. Because now I don't even know who Agamon is. I don't know how important he is. All I know is that he owns slaves. That's all I know.
And you're all right with him being dead because of that.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, he's dead. Now that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try to find out who his murderer is. I'm like, oh, somebody murdered the dude, the slave owner. Well, I guess I gotta go back and go to McDonald's if we can get us something to eat. Like, come on, that's what I would do. I mean, but instead they're gonna because I don't know. I don't understand the direction that this is going. So
Well, we're supposed to think that Clea killed him, but
okay.
No.
uh, yeah, I'm all right with it too.
Yeah,
If she killed him,
like,
we're cool. Johnny, what did you think?
I thought it was a fun read. Jed McKay is one of my favorite writers, so you know what? I'm always in. It's always a winner for me on that one. I did find it fun, the weekly thing. Although you know the bit where he says, "I've got my life back. I've got this. I've got my wife back," and the two of them together. I'm not getting out of that bed at all. I'm staying there. Thanks very much. What am I doing for my week when I'm back from the dead? Staying right there. There you go. Yep, that was canny. I don't. It's interesting how he's starting to look like Alfred from Batman,
Hmm.
and he still manages to bang a hot babe like Clea. There's still hope for me yet. There you go.
I like that they kept the dog.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The dog's
I
great.
do have a question of the little girl that had the crystal ball. Is that a new character? Who is she? Is she going to stick around? I don't understand.
I think she's one of the slaves, is she not? Is that the?
Oh,
the
so great. Doctor Strange has the slave now. Awesome.
I don't think
Fuck.
it's
The
quite like
liberated.
that.
He rescued her from being a slave,
Yeah,
and now she stays at his house. And
yeah.
And runs around and has to answer the phone for him and bring the crystal ball to him. And she, I don't like the way this is going. But
You know when you've got little people like kids, you know you get them to do stuff. You know that, right? Like go and
yeah,
tidy your
yeah.
yeah,
room, go and wash the car, go and walk the dog.
yeah.
You know you get
I had kids, so I didn't have to take the trash out anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, what can I say? It's a rite of passage.
yeah.
All right, let's go jump to our last review of the day, Women of Marvel #1. And Lucas, this was your pick.
Just when
Why
I
did you pick this book?
because
Why did you pick this book, Lucas? That's the question. Why? For the love of God, why?
because just when I thought Marvel was totally lost on how to display some of these characters, there is this book, and it gave me some new hope because none of these characters, and I'll reiterate, none of these characters should probably have their own book. They are excellent. They are excellent when they are part of a group. They are excellent in these little titular like 5 story joints like this one. So they showed that they understand that. And they did very well with this one. So let me get down to the brass knuckles of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There was 5 stories. Um,
Is there?
yeah, What a Girl Wants by Rebecca Ronos. Sing Your Heart Out, Victoria Yang. A Starling Rescue by Melissa Flores. Dress Up Wasp by Erica Derso.
That's not a
And
story.
The
That's a fucking book.
Energy
That's not a story.
Vampire, Shawnee Lee Gibbs. Um, like I said before, there's a lot of stuff going on. The main story is She-Hulk, she's in court, trying to defend like her friends because everywhere they go, there's some knucklehead freaking trying to do stuff, and then now all of those knuckleheads are trying to sue these superheroes all in one court case. So she's in court, and then she's explaining why they had to do what they had to freaking do. Boom, that's it. That's Grata. And then they show like what was happening. That say sometimes these superheroes do hang out. Their girlfriends, they're doing karaoke. They're just going out for ice cream. Sometimes they're just doing whatever. And I think that was kind of freaking beautiful. I love the karaoke piece. Kudos to freaking that. They even had the little Korean freaking wine at the freaking one joint with Mysterio. I don't know how he was drinking the Korean wine with a big old glass thing over his head, but okay. Um, and the other one was, fortunately, they did bring in, they did kind of hint of there's this weird thing going on with or should be Kate Bishop and America Chavez. They're friends, and but they hang out so much, people are starting to think that they date, and there's that weird thing that's going on. I think they should just full on go for it, let that be a thing. And then in the meantime, they met up with Miles Morales and his new boo, Starling, and you're like, hey, we should double date, and Starling was like, nope, boom, let's go ahead and get out of here. So I think that was kind of interesting, and that's how you should start off. The speculation about relationships, but each one of these little things was about 6 pages long or something like that. It was short, concise, came in, knocked the bad guy out, boom, on to the next story. That's how I want these characters. That's how I think that it does really well with these characters. I love it. I know you guys might not have loved it because you want them to flesh it out. Well, guess what? It's not working out. It's not working out at all for any of these other freaking characters right now. I know you guys liked what they were doing with Captain Marvel, but nobody else freaking cares about what's going on with this. So this did very well.
Johnny?
Thank you. Let me just clear my throat for the discussion that is about to happen. Right. Okay. So there is a host of creators on this book. They're there listed on the cover. Well done, Marvel. You've listed everyone who's worked on this book, apart from the letterer. What's going on there? What is going on? You've got enough space to put one more name on there. It's bang out of order. I'm sick of seeing it. Marvel do it. DC do it. Host of indie books do it. Put the letterer on the cover. Simple. While we're talking about the cover, let's have a quick look at this cover. Let's see. She-Hulk, yes, she's in the book. Miss Marvel, yes, she's in the book. Photon, yes, she's in the book. Captain Marvel, nowhere to be seen. Okay, Silk, yes, she's in the book. Guess who's not on the cover? That's right. Kate and Chavez. It's strange that Wasp isn't even on this book cover. What's going on? Why are you getting a Captain Marvel fan to even look at this book when she's not in it? Crazy. Come on, sort your stuff out. I could have sworn there, but I didn't. Phew. I have to have some brown sauce sandwiches later just to calm down. The first story. Yeah, it's a bit of daft fun. The girls, Black Cat and Silk, go to a karaoke bar. We know that, of course, Silk is of Asian descent. So can we say stereotypical, anybody? Can we? What would an Asian
Karaoke
person...
is a Japanese word, isn't it?
Yeah, what would an Asian person do for a night out? What can we have? What can we have them do? Let us put our one brain cell that we have at Marvel to use and see if we can come up with something original. Nope. Let's do karaoke. Chavez, Kate story, hard pass. The art is terrible. I don't have time to deal with repressed PTSD because someone's got a disease that has no bearing on the story. I don't read Chavez in Thunderbolts. I'm not interested. Miss Marvel and Proton. Proton's kind of cool. We all know my views on Miss Marvel. Not aimed at me. And that is this book. Lucas is absolutely right. This book is not aimed at me. This book is aimed to celebrate the women of Marvel. However, I don't see a lot of celebration going on. If you're going to have a celebration of women, then it should be all right for two girls to hang out and be friends. It should be all right for two girls to hang out and be girlfriends in a romantic sense. And yet somehow they managed to drop the ball with Chavez and Kate. They're neither one nor the other. It's bonkers. It is everything that is wrong with trying to force diversity in comic books. Comic diversity exists just like real world exists. All right? It's there. You don't have to shout about it every 2 minutes. These characters are well represented without a special Woman of Marvel book. You know, Captain Marvel has her own book. She-Hulk has a TV show. Miss Marvel has a TV show. Proton's going to be in a movie coming out summer. Silk has umpteen miniseries, and she's currently starring in the Spider-Man book by Dan Slott. These are big characters. All I want, I'm the minority on the UCPN. I'm a British guy. I want British men of CCC comic book, please. Yes, UCPN British Man Day. That's what I'd like. Let's go.
Didn't we have the British Avengers a while back?
Yeah. What were they called? I can't even
remember.
remember.
Exactly. They had a big book. It was 6 issues. And it was canceled because nobody gave a Johnny.
No, I know. So I do kind of want to give a bit of credit, and I'll tell you what I like about this book and what I don't like. So just the names of the creators. Introductions by Charlie Jane Anders. First story is done by Rebecca Rowanhorse story, Carola Borelli pencils and inks, Ruth Redmond on colors, Victoria Ying second story, Jody Nishijima pencils and inks, Brittany Peer on colors. Third story is Melissa Flores on story, Stacy Lee on pencils, Rachel Rosenberg on colors. Fourth story, Shawnee and Chanel Gibbs on story, Julia Giulazzi on pencils, Giada Marchisio on colors, Eric, and then the Wasp, is Erica Durso on pencils and inks, and Rachel Rosenberg on colors.
Just
And
a quick shout on that. That's a
on
steal from the Mockingbird book. Chelsea Kane was doing that years ago.
Right, and letters on the whole book was VC's Ariana Mayer. So this whole book was done by women. So I get it. It's Women of Marvel. It's a women empowerment. So that's, I kind of like that about this book. I like the fact that there are creators on this book that would have not gotten work on Marvel otherwise. So, kudos to Marvel for that. The stories, hey, I am a longtime Marvel fan, and I'm pretty sure Mysterio's powers don't work like this. Just to kind of get together. Plus the pinball head he has is not really what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a fishbowl. It's not supposed to just sit on his head like there's no room for his neck, unless that's an illusion.
Maybe he's trying out for the Mandalorian. This is the way.
Right. And pretty sure that any illusion Mysterio creates, they don't have fishbowl heads as well. They're usually pretty convincing illusions. Ask Spider-Man. So I don't really get that story, but like I said, a lot of these stories, these women are not going to be not the women, but these creators, not really going to have steady work at Marvel or anywhere else. There's a page in here that kind of drove me a little wild. It's one of the text pages where it's where they interview a lot of the women at Marvel, and the bad thing they really do is kind of give them their titles, and it really kind of goes to show you how top heavy Marvel is on the production level, where you kind of wonder how these people all get paid, and then the creators are not paid anything and not have given benefits or anything. But we have Lauren Amaro, associate editor, Jasmine Estrada, audio producer, Shannon Andrews Ballesteros, associate managing editor, Sierra Gilman, talent management coordinator, Lauren Bissum, senior editor, Kat Gregorowitz, assistant editor, Jennifer Grunwald, director, production and special projects.
Is she related to Matt Grunwald?
No, she's not. No. The last name is spelled differently. Okay. Lindsay Kohick, assistant editor. Jill Duboff, director of audio. Marika Hashimoto, associate editor, digital media. Caitlin Lintved, assistant editor. Ellie Pyle, executive director, digital media, publishing. Michelle Marchese, assistant editor. Isabel Robertson, podcast producer. Lisa Montalbano, associate manager. Sarah Spercini, digital compositor, special projects. Emily Newcomen, associate manager, talent relations. Sarah Singer, editor, special projects. Caitlin O'Connell, associate editor. Elena Smith, editor. So
that is the world's most boring 2-minute warning in the world.
I apologize, but I wanted to give credit where credit was due, but also to give you an idea of, like I said, how top heavy management is. Where do we remember we were talking to Paul Kupperberg a couple of weeks ago, and he said when he was working at DC, there were 35 total people working in the office. And to me, this is just, it's too much, isn't it?
Yeah.
So sorry. That's really what I wanted.
Yeah, did they actually do anything, or did they just open a PDF one day and like, yep, it's good to go, and just signed off with it, and that's it?
Yeah, because obviously comic books need an audio manager.
Podcast producer, I could do that.
Not the way you gotta do the menu to start, Dave.
We can edit that out. All right. Do we have time for a 2-minute warning?
Sure.
If it's 2 minutes.
I'm sure everybody will stick around. This is like one of our favorite spots.
Yeah.
I need this for my wall.
Yep, this is the 60th anniversary Alex Ross Timeless. For first edition is going to come out in Uncanny Inventors #1 sometime in August. Don't know what the second one is going to be. That's going to be a connecting cover. So everybody's going to want to watch out for this one. On FOCD this week, got Alien number 121 and 25 by Del Auto. And there's actually going to be a 1-100 out there as well, but we don't have the cover art for that one. Avengers Beyond #2, 1 in 25, Ariel Diaz. The solicitor says that as violence tears New York apart, ordinary citizens become crazed superpower thugs with nothing but want and destruction on their minds. That means that there's going to be new characters with new superpowers, specifically in this freaking book.
Wasp's wings look digital.
They do, but they look pretty. It's pretty. Right? Deadpool #6, 1 in 100, Mole Man. Doctor Strange #2, 1 in 25, Garbett. Yep. As soon as you get back from the day, you're gonna want to bone a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the wrong type of stiff.
Hulk #14, 1 in 100. Sins of Sinister Dominion #1, 1 in 100. There's your 1 in 25, Laraz. Now this one is going to be the most interesting, and going by the numbers, I don't know if people aren't tracking this one, but nobody has been buying these books. The Star Wars Darth Vader Black, White, and Red #1, 1 in 100, the Del Auto. So I don't have any data on the pre-sales or whether anybody's interested or whether they're tracking it right now. But that's the 1 in 100 Del Auto right there. This is the 1 in 25 by Carrie Andrews.
Can I say whoever's been doing the Darth Vader covers, man, they've been some kick-ass covers lately.
Absolutely.
That's an awesome cover. Look at that.
It is, right? And then this is the cover C Chung variant that's going to be out there. So there's this one, and there's another one that's actually not that bad. So I think retailers are going to have an easier time of getting to that 1 in 100 this year. There's your Star Wars Dr. Aphra.
Oh, look, they're at the karaoke bar with.
Strange Academy Finals #6 and 1 in 25. Now, people wanted me to bring this up that up until 12 o'clock this morning, the art was not available. So a lot of retailers may not have purchased this one. And that's important because if you look to the right, that's Doyle, but to the left, that's supposed to be Emily Bright. She doesn't look like that normally, but now apparently, I don't know whether that's just for the cover or in this book, she's got Doyle's freaking superpowers. This is your cover. I forget which cover this one, but this is your Ramos variant. Thor. And then if you look at the young lady that's holding the hammer, that is supposedly his sister. That was just a toddler just a few issues ago.
Thor's sister?
Mm-hmm. Little baby girl. And then this one is the Jeff Brown variant.
God, Johnny, I think you could do that.
I could do better than that. What are you trying to say about my art? I tell you what. Son of a... Right.
1 in 100, Alex Ross. Venom Lethal Protector #2. This is the Scan.
I do like how good Silver Sable looks in her Black Widow pose from Winter Soldier poster. Just
pretty
saying,
hippie in that.
Lift, steel. Sorry.
This is I forget which variant this one is. All right, coming soon. This is stuff that's coming out this week. Deadpool.
Pass.
Yep.
Daredevil. Bah.
Nice.
That's a
nice
good cover.
And this is 125. This is the Alex Ross cover.
I think I prefer the other one.
Invincible Iron Man #4, 1 in 100. The Mandarin variant. It's Jeff.
Pass.
Do you just put these on just to annoy me?
Yes. Star Wars High Republic, number 7, 1 in 25 by Zercher. And this one is the 1 in 25 High Republic The Blade. Venom Lethal Protector, number, I forget what number this one is, but it's the Peach Momoko. And this is the Venom Alex Ross. And lastly, X-Men Unforgiven.
Check out the Power Pack.
Right. So that's where it gets weird, right? Because I've already read this story. The Power Pack is not in the story yet. Here they are on the cover, as vampires
with vampire capes. Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with this one. I'm gonna have to grab me a couple copies, just cause. Oops, sorry about that. That's not Marvel.
Whoa!
That's not Marvel. But that one
look pretty marvelous to me.
That's the biggest book that week.
It looked like the biggest book.
that non-Marvel book was the biggest book this week.
That's the biggest book that's coming out this week.
Pretty big to me.
Yeah, she's currently pregnant and she's gonna have the baby this week in this book.
What book is that? Vampirella?
Yep, Vampirella Year 1, number 6.
Oh, okay. Good guess on my part, right? I didn't even have any context.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Well, the only publishers that are really putting out books like that are what? Zenoscope and Dynamite. So.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Extended 2-minute warning, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. We'll be well into spring. We'll be into April, and baseball will be happening.
Or cricket for Johnny. Is cricket happening?
Oh yeah, cricket happens.
Oh, cricket.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good week, guys.
Adios.